Hi everybody, welcome to Raising Vibrations, and you're with Simon today, and we've got another subscriber chart reading, and of course this is from one of our Patreon members. And before I jump into this actual reading today, I just want to share that Mercury retrograde is in existence, and I found it really challenging to communicate, and sometimes very frustrating considering the fact that, you know, the work that I do is about communication. So if you do find me saying a word that sounds strange or odd or out of the sequence, just have a little giggle inside of yourself. And as always, with this type of interaction, this type of video, you know, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on how you were looking at the charts and what other information you could add to help not only this person, but anybody else that's watching this video series. Okay. So as we start with all of this, you know, we're learning about evolutionary astrology, and this is a great opportunity to see how the chart is read from an EA perspective, right? Okay, so the first thing that we do in EA is we look at Pluto, because it's the bottom line of the chart, and we're looking at why the soul decided to come into this lifetime with these certain desires. So we have Pluto in the 10th, and for me personally, I have this symbolism as well. And so I can relate to this experience. So Pluto in the 10th says, I'm here to live a life where I understand what natural timing is like, right? So you'll be very sensitive to how the cycles of life work. If you make a choice, Pluto, that leads you in a specific direction, Capricorn, 10th house, how does that cycle unfold for you? How do your choices that you make in your life, Pluto, reflect the awareness of how the karma is playing out, right? What's the natural timing of something? It's one of the deepest lessons that you can experience with Pluto in the 10th. The other dynamic here is that there's a desire to obviously want to come out into the world and be empowered through recognition, through responsibility, to want to choose a life where you see the fathering essence be present with you, right? How do you nurture? How do you protect? This is, of course, the polarity point of this astrology with Pluto over here is I'm going into my emotional body and I'm learning to understand what the emotional relatability is. And this is about softening the hardened edges of yourself, right? Becoming more emotionally sensitive to the parts of you that have had to make really difficult choices in your life, and you've needed to emotionally shut down because experiences said to you that you had no choice, or this was the only way. The boundaries said this is how you should be, this is how you should act. And so, of course, that has led you to a lot of dynamics of emotional repression that will come up to the surface for you, and you'll have to process them through. You know, for me, that's all what my work is about, right? It's how can you be more softer on the outside that allows the emotions to come through you and you integrate them into you, right? So the imagery that I have with a Pluto 10th house desire is we go into the depth, we bring up the emotion, and then it's present with us, and we integrate that into our awareness. And then that awareness becomes the way that we live. That's our lessons here. That's the deepest way that we can learn to connect with others. Okay, it's in Virgo, so part of your generation is learning how to heal from the shadow of I'm not good enough, or I need to sacrifice myself in my career or in my life direction, and I might not be empowered in the work that I do because my service to the sort of machine, the controlling system that says this is what we must do, right? That Virgo says I have to sacrifice myself. I can't meet those needs. And yet simultaneously, it's very important for you to know that if you have aligned yourself with a certain type of work, that work has been about service. It's been about, and when I talk about service, I don't mean like I need to devote myself to something, although you have in prior lifetimes deeply devoted yourself to some spiritual matters that may or may not have actually brought you joy. And I'll talk about that with the South Node in the 5th house. But this alignment is a purification of your own sense of destiny, your own sense of what does it mean to be in control of my life. So you're going from lifetimes or lifetimes of aligning with certain cultures that had a deep service orientation mindset to it. Like, this is what you do to, this is what reputation looks like. This is what recognition looks like. It's about, putting yourself last and meeting the needs of the others and stuff. And this ongoing evolution for you is to recognize that you've done that too much in the past, right? And so there is a need to free yourself, Uranus conjunct the moon, of the certain ideals and destinies that you have used as a faith, right? So Leo, ninth house, Uranus conjunct the moon, to free yourself of an identity that was linked with a faith that said, this is what purpose means. Okay. And with that south node sitting in the fifth house, conjunct the sun in Pisces, conjunct Mercury in Pisces as well, even though the sun and the Mercury are in the fourth, this is another repeating theme here of completion. You can see this is completion because the moon, right, or should I say the sun moves anti-clockwise around the chart and the south node moves clockwise. And they're about to make a connection to each other. They haven't actually made that connection. So this is the lifetime where that will be occurring for you. And it's the connection around dissolving the past. And it means dissolving the direction that you've been in the past and leading you to new experiences that have meaning for you. And you could potentially feel inside of yourself that you have lost purpose, that you have lost meaning, and you potentially could have gone through deep cycles of depression with that Pluto 10th house and the Saturn in Capricorn and the Jupiter in Capricorn in the second. So the message for you in this chart with the south node sitting in the fifth house says, and the planetary ruler, sorry to jump ahead here, but the planetary ruler of the south node is Neptune. And for those of you that don't know what a planetary ruler is, it's the archetype that helps us understand what is the south node trying to tell us. And so with Neptune being in the 12th house in Scorpio, you can see that there is a need for alignment. So Neptune, Pisces, alignment with something that is meaningful, Neptune, Pisces, and yet simultaneously there's also been a recognition and a realization and an experience of losing power, Scorpio, through surrender, Pisces, 12th house, and feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you didn't have a choice, feeling like this was not the path for you. So there's this complexity around re-empowerment around your truth or around your meaning for life, and also experiencing a loss of meaning. And that Neptune 12th house says dissolve what has no longer provided empowerment to you and realign with something that provides meaning, which can be very difficult with this type of chart. So the context, the evolutionary cycle here says, Pluto, I'm heading in a new direction. I'm very aware of that, Pluto and Virgo. I need to begin processing the types of groups, the types of associations, the types of ideas that could potentially bring me out of what was the past, North Node in the 11th house in Virgo, and to begin the process of letting go of whatever symbolized purpose and meaning for me in the past, and to begin progressively experiencing new directions that lead me into a deeper state of understanding about what is purpose and meaningful for me, okay? So that's a really interesting chart to read in terms of its psychological development. And I hope that for you that is watching this video, you got a lot out of it. And for you that actually has this chart, that you have found that or are in the process of reconciling some of the grief that's associated with this chart, some of the sadness, and hopefully that in some way you have aligned yourself with certain truths that may represent personal meaning to you. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks very much for letting me share this information with you. I hope you enjoyed it, as I said. And until the next recording, take care. Bye-bye.